And we are back with another episode of the 6 Yard Line podcast. I'm Sean, that's Noel. We're here to reminisce on another. Well, I guess it wasn't the greatest weekend for you. I can't complain on my team's results. But we won't be really discussing or dwelling on those two
No, you know what though?
games this weekend.
I will say it was absolutely this is honestly one of the funnest weeks of the season. I think to from a games point of view. I think every single game, as we've called it today, the insane comeback edition, because it seemed like that's the theme of the weekend. But yeah, I think every game was a game of two halves, and the Forest game was no different than that. Certainly, Forest certainly had a good battled point, but no, I think it was a great in terms of entertainment wise. I think this was a great weekend because I was watching the Forest draw, which was literally Forest hanging on, but to be fair, Palace did nothing. You were watching the United Fulham game, which we'll get into in a minute, which turned into a banger. The Chelsea
Yeah.
West Ham game was a game I watched because I was actually cleaning my office and I had it on one screen and another game on there, and it was absolutely a banger of a game. I actually sat down in my chair and was watching that. And then the City Spurs game again was just another tale of two halves. So we'll cover a bit into that today as well. And I think there was some, you know what, if you look around the league, there's some absolute classics this weekend. And you know what, it's nice when it's like that. It's nice when the results and the games were entertaining because that's what the Premiership's about, right? And I think it was certainly a game for some games this weekend that was absolute prime adverts for why the Premier League is the best in the world.
Oh, by far. I mean, whether you were a neutral or you're a Man United or a Fulham fan, that may have been one of the most exciting games to watch because you had, I mean, you're right, it was one of many. Because now even thinking about it, yes, Liverpool did dominantly win 4-1, but you know, if you watch that game, you did not see either team sit back. You saw two teams that were going for it from start. Well, at least from at the start, it was all Newcastle, but you had two teams that were, wanted to win this game. Versus when you do have a team that sits back and you're trying to break them down, it's definitely not the most entertaining or enjoyable football to watch. But what we had this weekend was, you can pretty much say game after game intensity, comebacks, late draws, like across the board. It wasn't even just the games we're
Yeah.
talking about. You have the Everton Brighton game. You have, I know I'm probably missing a game or two, but there was some close, entertaining, exciting. As you said, the reason the Premier League is the most popular, rated as the number one league in the world is because start to finish, every single match.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's just a perfect segue to get into the. How did Man United win? Because I was too busy in the Forest game. You're messaging me going, "This Fulham Man United game is just going," and I looked and I'm like, I said to him, oh, my son was watching the game with me, and I said, "Oh, it looks like I think based on Sean's text, Fulham's just equalised." And then you're like, oh my God, it's a United win. So I was like, all right, this is going to be interesting. So I watched the highlights after. And yeah, it didn't disappoint. You're watching it, so I'll let you take it away. But yeah, it was yeah.
Well, before I even get to the scoreline, what people have to remember, if you've never watched Fulham play this season, specifically this season, you have to behind or what, when most teams would probably give up or, be great if they at least score one goal and feel like, all right, you know what, keeper didn't get a clean sheet against us. But not this Fulham team because they're never down and out. They will. You almost want to call them like the comeback kings. They may not win in every single match, but they're going to be entertaining to watch, and that's what we. They were ready. First of all, we have to give some credit to Carrick. Carrick's come in. He's revamped the team. He's given them some energy. He's changed up the lineup, and you're getting a good team performance out of this United squad. And that's what's really helping them get these 3 points week after week. It's not just a matter of it's the same team. No, it's putting the right players that should have been on the pitch maybe before, going with a different formation that actually works in the Premier League, and you're getting the best out of the players that you have. So they came out on the front foot, and they definitely were the more game. They get the early goal from Casemiro in the 19th minute, and what looked like, going into the half, one nothing lead. You know what? Team, like I said, a team like Fulham is a team that will come back. So Man United were still on the front foot. Cunha scores in the 56th minute, 50 something minute, and then again, like I said, when you think everything might be all over, we get a pen in the 85th minute. Jimenez puts it in, and I don't remember who's it that scored the last goal for
Kevin, it's
Fulham.
their it's a screamer. It's an absolute
Oh,
screamer, that shot. Like, I guess that's
bro,
why they
it
spent
was
what, I think it's 37 million. He absolutely hit that like a rocket.
it was it's like once you saw that how the play was developing and then he cut in, it's like if you're a right-footed player and you're playing on the left-hand side and if you're watching how they do it, they all do the same thing. I've seen, Gakpo do it with Liverpool. I've seen tons of players do in the past. They get the defender moving, they shift him to the right, and they just get that perfect curve on the ball. And I don't know too many keepers that are stopping that ball because it's placed in the perfect spot, has the right curve, right angle, right spot in the net that you're aiming for. And you have to be a true, like,
Yeah,
what,
you weren't stopping that. Like, there was an absolute banger.
yeah.
But there is one thing I want to talk about briefly because, VAR became a bit of an issue in this game again. Fulham seems to be the team this year that's taken over Forest's mantle of being on the end of a lot of the VAR decisions. Now, I understand that and I feel for Fulham on that. One thing I'm a little annoyed with VAR for is you mentioned the Raul Jimenez penalty. And if you've seen Raul Jimenez take penalties this year, he's really stopping and starting on the run up, which is against the rules. Like, he did it against Forest, and I was like, that should be retaken because he's stopping too much. And against United, it was a blatant stop. Like, they at some point they've got to pull him back because there's a rule in place for a reason. But against United, he took almost 2 steps to take the penalty, and I don't like the rule. But if that is the rule, then it needs to be enforced. And I'm not saying Fulham needs to be on the end of more bad VAR calls, but it also someone needs to tell Jimenez that you can't take that much of a blatant step, and it is a blatant step because he is stopping, he is then going, he is stopping, and then going again, and it's like if the goalkeeper gets done for coming off the line, then Jimenez should get
And,
done for the run up being jerky and unfair. It's the same as the goalkeeper's coming off the line. If the keeper comes off the line, you expect that penalty to be retaken. If he starts and does this stutter start motion, Fernandez does it, but he doesn't. He does it in one motion. But I just find Jimenez's penalties this year. There's I think there's 3 of them this year where he's clearly stopping and starting, and I think that's a miss on that. And I'm not bagging on Fulham for that. I just find it's the inconsistencies. If that's certain teams, I think that gets called. And I think at the end of the day, he's very fortunate that they didn't make him retake that because I think he would have missed it the second time.
I don't disagree because you messaged me about that, and I remember I saw a clip of the game recently. He was going and like it wasn't like a stutter. It was he stopped and then went on and the ref didn't call, and I was just like, how did you not call that? Right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a big game like a Champions League final or a World Cup game for FIFA to um, start to call it again or at least be more strict with it because players are starting to get away with it. What they're doing is their upper body's kind of like still jerking, but their feet actually stop for a moment. So the refs kind of get played by the fact that, oh, I'm jerking my body, but my legs haven't are you know you don't realize that my legs stopped for a sec. So Anyways, we
No,
won't jump too much.
I think it's just me nitpicking at the penalty because it just annoyed me. But we've got to talk about the Sesko winner because it's 2-2. Fulham have just pulled it back. 85th, 91st. They've pulled it back. They're bouncing. You see Marco Silva like running up and down on the sideline, celebrating like he's won the World Cup. And then the ball comes down. You think United's dead and buried, and then Sesko, the guy that they brought to do that in Fergie time, in Carrick time now, scores an absolute banger too, and it's a really nice finish, and it's
It
difficult.
was
It's a difficult finish.
so if you watch the whole build up of the play, it was well executed. Here's my question: it was a little too easily executed, for my opinion, from Man United. Like they literally marched down the field. You saw the play. It's like you almost felt like while I was watching, I was like, they're going to score, aren't they? You kind of just saw how it developed and how it was going to end up, and it was a beautiful finish. Won't take anything for
Yeah,
Cisco. He
it's a top
finally,
finish.
it hasn't necessarily really been as success or as consistent um, as their number nine as they probably would have liked. But when you score like that, the fans will remember your name. So um,
It's a
three
great
points.
finish. Honestly, just a
Yeah,
great finish from that angle and from the way he takes that ball in stride and just hits it. I was like, whoa, that's a finish. That's what you got from him in the Bundesliga. But again, I think it's the Michael Carrick effect, right? I think at the end of the day,
yeah.
he's got them playing a little bit more like a Fergie team, right? And Mateus Cunha is another one that looks incredibly lively since Michael Carrick's taken over. So you know what? United's 3-win on a bounce. We're 2 games away from that fella getting his haircut, so that's always a good. I'm just hoping for that guy. I actually just feel for him because his hair is terrible.
The afro, like he's just you gotta love his afro. So here's the question. So they've got two more games to go. Um, who are they up against?
I'm hoping West Ham.
The next match. Sorry?
I'm hoping West Ham.
So they play Spurs on Saturday.
Oh,
Then
okay.
midweek, because next week there's midweek games. So it really here's the thing. Before I tell you this actually goes well. Do they get they are at home? Are they home? Let me just make sure. They are at home,
They're home to West Ham.
yeah, against Spurs.
Uh, I think it's West
Yeah,
Ham. I think it's
I'm,
Spurs and yeah.
so yeah,
I thought it.
Spurs.
I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah, Spurs at home,
Go on,
which
United.
it,
It puts Spurs
you
in
know
trouble and it puts West Ham in trouble. I'm okay with that.
the problem is with it being Spurs, what Spurs team shows up.
Thanks everyone for watching, and we super appreciate you all. And don't forget to smash a like and subscribe and all the fun stuff at the bottom. And yeah, we're on to week 25. Oh my god, the season's almost over.
It's almost over, but don't worry. We'll keep footy content coming your way.
Oh yeah, we have the World Cup to worry about if it ever happens.
Um, I don't think you know what. I have no patience to sit here and talk World Cup soccer. So, folks, do not expect a 60. We'll maybe do like a pre tournament draw or pool or something like that. But we're not going to do like game by game or any week by week or pool by pool because I'm more entertained on the politic aspect to see who if there's going to be all kind of drama before the World Cup or during.
Well, we'll see. But no, it's we've got still got a few more weeks to go in the season, and it's pole position for Arsenal, and yeah, it's let's hopefully this weekend's games are just as exciting as this weekend's because it was fantastic, great to watch.
Yeah, that would definitely suit me well. So we'll leave it at that, folks. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next week.